Lately, I have been rereading some books which have been greatly influential for me in my life. And one such book is Six Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden. Now, the difference between this book and an average kind of mental health book that you see in the market today is that this book is more evergreen, in the sense that it is not going to give you explicit instructions, but the principles that it is going to teach you, the philosophy that it is going to teach you, it is going to develop a capacity that stays with you for the rest of your life. All right. So, because mental health is currently a hot topic, there are a lot of books available in the market, and a lot of them are, in fact, quick fixes, quick solution books, and they're not going to work after a few years if a different kind of problem comes. But this book is not like that, and that's really the speciality of this kind of book. It's not that this is the only book that is like that. It is one of such books which is evergreen, and in fact there are some particular points, concepts, which I could relate with the concepts in a couple more of my most influential books, and those books are Seven Habits of Highly Effective People and The Myth of Normal. So there were some concepts which were closely interlinked, and that is something that really made me happy, because it felt like I am also rereading those books as I'm reading this book. So this particular chapter in the book had a list of things, list of points, which I felt like it could be taken as a sort of consolidation of the majority of themes in the book. But at the same time, it's not the entire consolidation, it's not the entire summary, but I felt like it is a great starting point for you to understand what is actually in the book. And yes, that's that. So this video is going to be about me reading out these points, and I have to admit that these are not the entire list of this is not the entire list that is from the book. I have only picked out some points which I felt are most relevant for me. So first and foremost, this is for me actually, but I felt that these are the points which are going to be helpful for people who are like relatable to me, or people who live in the same geographic condition, or my family or friends, people who know me, might be useful to you as well. So that's why I thought I will share it online, I will read it online, right? So this is beliefs about self that promote self-esteem. So what are all the points that I'm reading? These are basically the beliefs that will help you cultivate self-esteem. Okay, so there are points with respect to each and every pillar, the six pillars of self-esteem with respect to each and every pillar, and also some general beliefs, that is not with respect to any particular pillar but in general. And also there is an extra one which is beliefs about reality that support self-esteem. Okay, so let me start with the general ones. I am of high value to myself. I have a right to honor my needs and wants, to treat them as important. I am not here on earth to live up to someone else's expectations. My life belongs to me. No one is here on earth to live up to my expectations. I do not regard myself as anyone else's property, and I do not regard anyone else as my property. I am lovable. I am admirable. I deserve to be treated courteously and with respect by everyone. If people treat me discourteously or disrespectfully, it is a reflection on them, not on me. It is only a reflection of me if I accept their treatment of me as a right. No other individual or group has the power to determine how I will think and feel about myself. I am better served by knowing what is true than by making myself right at the expense of facts. So when I say this, it means that the author has actually kept that particular word in quotations. If I persevere and if my goals are realistic, I am competent to achieve them. I am worthy of happiness. I am enough. This doesn't mean that I have nothing more to learn and nowhere further to grow. It means that I have the right to primary self acceptance. I have a right to make mistakes. That is one of the ways I learn. Mistakes are not the grounds for self damnation. I do not sacrifice my judgment, do not pretend my convictions are different than they are to win popularity or approval. It is not what they think, it is what I know. What I know is more important to me than a mistaken belief in someone else's mind. No one has the right to force on me ideas and values that I do not accept, just as I do not have the right to force my ideas and values on others. Self-development and self-fulfillment are appropriate moral goals. My happiness and self-realization are noble purposes. So those are some general beliefs. So the next set of points is with respect to the first pillar of self-esteem, which is living consciously. The more conscious I am of that which bears on my interests, values, needs, and goals, the better my life will work. It is joyful to exercise my mind. I am better served by correcting my mistakes than by pretending they do not exist. I am better served by holding my values consciously than unconsciously, and by examining them rather than by holding them uncritically as not to be questioned axioms. I need to be on the lookout for temptations to evade unpleasant facts. I need to manage my avoidance impulses and not be ruled by them. This particular point, to manage my avoidance impulses, it's a very favorite point to me. If I understand the wider context in which I live and act, I will be more effective. It is worth my while to understand my environment and the wider world around me. To remain effective, I need to keep expanding my knowledge. Learning needs to be a way of life. So a lot of times we leave learning right after school or college, but learning really needs to be a way of life. The better I know and understand myself, the better the life I can create. Self-examination is an imperative of a fulfilled existence. So this is with respect to the first pillar, which is living consciously. So the second pillar is self-acceptance. I accept the reality of my thoughts even when I cannot endorse them and would not choose to act on them. I do not deny or disown them. So it means that you can have what thoughts you have, even if you do not support them. It's okay, but you need to acknowledge that you do have these thoughts. I can accept my feelings and emotions without necessarily liking, approving, or being controlled by them. I do not deny or disown them. So similarly with respect to feelings and emotions. I can accept that I have done what I have done even when I regret or condemn it. I do not deny or disown my behavior. I accept the reality of my problems, but I am not defined by them. My problems are not my essence. My fear, pain, confusion, or mistakes are not my core. So this is with respect to self-acceptance. The next pillar is self-responsibility. So the points with respect to that. I am responsible for the achievement of my dreams. I am responsible for my choices and actions. I am responsible for the level of consciousness I bring to my work and other activities. I am responsible for the level of consciousness I bring to my relationships. I am responsible for my behavior with other people, co-workers, associates, customers, spouse, children, friends. I am responsible for how I prioritize my time. I am responsible for the quality of my communications. I am responsible for my personal happiness. I am responsible for choosing or accepting the values by which I live. So the next pillar is self-assertiveness. I have a right to express myself in appropriate ways in appropriate contexts. I have a right to stand up for my convictions. I have a right to treat my values and feelings as important. It serves my interests for others to see and know who I am. And next is living purposefully. So this is the fifth pillar. Only I properly can choose the goals and purposes for which I live. No one else can appropriately design my existence. So do not let other people set your goals for yourself. Second point, if I am to succeed, I need to learn how to achieve my goals and purposes. I need to develop and then implement a plan of action. If I am to succeed, I need to pay attention to the outcome of my actions. I must practice self-discipline not as a sacrifice but as a natural precondition of being able to achieve my desires. So do not look at discipline like a sacrifice that you're taking away the joy of life. Alright? So take it as a natural precondition of being able to achieve your desires. So this is with respect to the pillar of living purposefully. Next is personal integrity. I should practice what I preach. I should keep my promises. I should honor my commitments. I should strive to make my life a reflection of my inner vision of the good. My self-esteem is more valuable than any short-term rewards for its betrayal. So finally we have, so 6 pillars are done, general beliefs are done. Finally we have a last one, which is beliefs about reality that support self-esteem. So the first one is self-chosen blindness does not make the unreal real or the real unreal. Respect for the facts of reality as best as I understand them yields more satisfying results than defiance of the facts of reality. Survival and well-being depend on the appropriate exercise of consciousness. Avoidance of the responsibility of awareness is not adaptive. In principle, consciousness is reliable, knowledge is attainable, and reality is knowable. Values that nurture and support the individual's life and fulfillment on earth are superior to values that endanger or threaten them. Human beings are ends in themselves, not means to the ends of others, and ought to be treated as such. An individual human being belongs neither to family, nor community, nor church, nor state, nor society. A human being is not property. All adult human associations should be chosen and voluntary. We should not sacrifice self to others nor others to self. Relationships based on an exchange of values are superior to those based on the sacrifice of anyone to anyone. A world in which we regard ourselves and one another as accountable for our choices and actions work better than a world in which we deny such accountability. So these are the points that I have noted down. I hope that it has been helpful for you. And if you are new to this channel, by the way, I am Shanti and I make videos mostly about books but also about personal growth. So if you did like this video, then like, share, subscribe and comment.